If you thought foldable phones had already hit their ceiling, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 leaks are here to challenge that idea. What's being described isn't just another yearly refresh. It sounds like Samsung is trying to fix the two biggest complaints people still have about foldables: the visible crease and long-term durability. And if these details are accurate, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could end up being one of the most important turning points in the foldable smartphone market so far. Let's start with the headline upgrade that matters the most the moment you open the phone: the display. According to the leak, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 is expected to use 60 micrometer ultra-thin glass, which is said to be around 15 micrometers thicker than the previous generation. That might sound like a tiny change, but in foldable engineering, small measurements can translate into big real-world improvements. The goal here is simple: make the crease less noticeable and make the panel more resistant to daily wear. If Samsung can genuinely reduce crease visibility while boosting durability, that's not just a spec sheet win, it's a quality of life upgrade you'll notice every time you scroll, watch videos, or read on the inner screen. But the more interesting part of the leak is what's supposedly happening underneath the display. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 is rumored to include a laser-drilled metal plate beneath the panel, designed with precisely engineered holes that help distribute stress during folding. Think about it like this: every time you fold and unfold a phone, the hinge and the screen take a tiny amount of strain. Over months and years, that repeated stress adds up. A reinforced internal structure that spreads that load more evenly could make the screen feel flatter, reduce pressure points, and potentially improve how the foldable display ages over time. This is the kind of invisible upgrade that doesn't look flashy in marketing photos, but it can completely change how confident people feel spending premium money on a foldable. Of course, durability is still the make or break question for any foldable, including the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8. Even with thicker ultra-thin glass and an upgraded internal support layer, foldables are still foldables. They live and die by how well they handle repeated motion, temperature changes, pocket dust, and everyday accidents. Samsung's approach here, if the leak is true, feels calculated. Keep pushing forward, but do it in a way that tests new materials and new structure without taking reckless risks. The big thing everyone will want to know is not whether the Fold 8 feels stronger on day one, but whether it feels strong after months of heavy use. Now let's talk about design. Because the Galaxy Z Fold 8 leaks point to a form factor shift that could matter just as much as the screen tech. A lot of people have wanted a wider foldable for years, something that feels more like a normal phone when closed, and more like a compact tablet when open. The leak suggests the standard Galaxy Z Fold 8 may be shorter and wider compared to an Ultra variant, and that's a huge deal for usability. A wider design can make typing more comfortable, reduce awkward narrow app layouts, and improve day-to-day tasks like messaging, browsing, and multitasking. It can also make split-screen multitasking feel less cramped, which is one of the main reasons people buy a Fold in the first place. But there's always a trade-off. Wider can be better for productivity and media, but it can also affect one-handed comfort depending on your hand size and how you use your phone. Some users love tall, narrow phones because they feel easier to grip and swipe. If Samsung is truly leaning into a wider passport-style experience, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 might become the best fold yet for multitasking while slightly changing the feel for people who prioritize single-hand use. And that's exactly why the rumored standard versus ultra split is so interesting. Samsung might be building two fold identities for two different types of users. Weight is the other area where the leak gets especially spicy. The standard Galaxy Z Fold 8 is rumored to be the lightest foldable Samsung has ever made, possibly even lighter than a Galaxy S26 Ultra. If Samsung pulls that off, it's a massive win. One of the most common criticisms of foldable phones is that they feel like two phones stacked together, thick, heavy, and a bit exhausting after long use. A lighter fold changes everything. It's easier to carry, more comfortable for long reading sessions, less tiring when filming video, and more practical as an everyday device instead of a cool tech toy. Portability is what turns a foldable from a niche product into a mainstream one. And weight is a huge part of that. But weight reduction often collides with another demand: battery life. And the Galaxy Z Fold 8 leak suggests Samsung is still navigating that balancing act. The Ultra model is rumored to include a larger battery, surpassing the 4,400 mAh capacity seen in earlier generations. That's the kind of upgrade power users want, especially people who run two apps at once, keep the inner display active for long sessions, and use the device as a mini workstation. Bigger battery usually means more confidence, fewer compromises, and less anxiety about the phone dying halfway through the day. The catch is obvious. Bigger battery often adds weight. So if the Ultra version becomes the long-lasting endurance champ, and the standard Galaxy Z Fold 8 becomes the lightweight portability king, Samsung may be deliberately splitting the lineup into two clear choices. Do you want maximum battery and possibly a more ultra experience? Or do you want the lightest, easiest to carry foldable Samsung has ever made? If that's the direction Samsung is taking, it's actually a smart move because it acknowledges a real truth about foldables. Different users buy them for very different reasons. Another detail in the leak that matters more than it sounds is production strategy. It's being suggested that Samsung may produce the standard Galaxy Z Fold 8 in limited quantities. At first, that might sound like bad news: limited supply, harder to buy, potential delays. But there's another way to read it. Samsung could be testing the waters with new materials and new structure, gathering user feedback at scale, and refining the tech before rolling it into the next generation. That's often how major hardware transitions happen. Instead of betting everything at once, a company introduces key changes, watches how they perform in the real world, then uses that data to perfect the next version. If the Fold 8 really is a testing ground for tougher ultra-thin glass and that stress-distributing metal plate, it could be setting up something even bigger for the Galaxy Z Fold 9. Because here's the thing. Foldables don't become mainstream just because they look futuristic. They become mainstream when people trust them, when users feel confident that the screen will still look great after a year, when the hinge still feels tight and smooth, when durability stops being the first question people ask. Every incremental improvement that reduces crease visibility and improves long-term resilience pushes foldables closer to that tipping point, and the ripple effect doesn't stop with foldables. If Samsung is genuinely improving materials and internal structural design in the Galaxy Z Fold 8, those lessons could influence future flagship phones to potentially even devices like the Galaxy S27 Ultra. Better materials, better weight distribution, better internal reinforcement, and smarter engineering tend to spread across product lines once they're proven. Foldables often act like Samsung's experimental lab, and the best ideas eventually show up everywhere. Still, it's worth keeping expectations realistic. Even if the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 reduces the crease and boosts durability, no foldable will be truly normal phone simple until the industry solves the long-term wear question completely. Foldables are mechanical devices as much as they are smartphones. They move, they flex, they have stress points. That's why these rumored changes matter. They're not gimmicks. They're attempts to tackle the fundamental physics of a folding display. So the big takeaway from this Galaxy Z Fold 8 leak is this. Samsung appears to be pushing foldables toward the next stage: less compromise, more practicality. A thicker ultra-thin glass layer could help the screen look smoother and last longer. A laser-drilled metal support plate could reduce stress and improve reliability. A wider design could make the phone feel better in daily use and multitasking. A lighter standard model could finally make the Fold feel truly portable. And a battery-focused Ultra model could satisfy power users who want a foldable that lasts as long as it performs. Now the real question is the one that will decide everything. If these leaks are accurate, will the Galaxy Z Fold 8 feel like the first Fold that doesn't ask you to accept foldable drawbacks, or will it still be a device you buy because you love the concept enough to tolerate the compromises? Because if Samsung truly narrows that gap, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 won't just be a new phone. It'll be the foldable that moves the entire category forward.